Welcome back to Adventure Repeat. Thanks for being here. So, if this is your first time here, make sure to like the video, comment, tell us what you think, tell us what you hear about, and subscribe. We got a lot of great content coming and a lot of great content already on the channel, so be sure to check it out. So today, we're going to talk about putting a bed rack on the back of this 2024 Chevrolet 2500HD. The reason we're doing this is because we have a paddleboard and kayaks we'd like to take around with us when we travel on vacations, but we do need the bed space of the truck still. So to do that, we're having a bed rack put on right here, and we're going to show you how it's done in a moment. Cool features with this bed rack: it is no drilling. These clamps attach right to the bed rails on both sides. That allows it to pinch and hold into place, so I'm not actually drilling a bolt hole through the bed rail, so it still keeps a factory appearance. These are the lower leg bases. When you actually attach it across the bottom with those clamps, that lower base can stay on the truck, and you can just take these 3 bolts out right here and take the whole rack off, and it still is removable, and you can reinstall it later if you ever need to add more things in the back of the truck or you don't need the rack in the way. These are fully extruded aluminum pieces, so there is no resting going to happen, and it is a keyed slot, so it's actually fully adjustable for height. Because some people like to run the rear rack lower than the front, so when you're feeding like 2x4s and 4x4s up, it's actually a lot easier to do with the back end being lower, and different cab heights can vary. So this is actually more of a universal kit to fit any application. You have these heavy duty crossbars that go front and back between the 2 braces to make sure everything is stable and secure, so it gives it that height mechanical advantage, so it's actually stronger and sturdier, so you can have a higher payload than most kits, and it is adjustable depending on if you have a short or long bed application. The overhead crossbars are T-slot, so you can actually add on different pieces and different brackets and different things depending on your application. And then all the hardware is included for this kit along with instructions. So stay tuned, we'll show you how it's done. So as a note, with these lower bases, they're actually in a specific corner because you have the notch on the bottom that locates across the edge of the bed frame, and there is front and rear brackets. You got to make sure you use this in the correct orientation because you cannot mix these up in different places because they're angled differently at the base. So there is a certain orientation that these need to be in to be properly installed. So I started by pre-assembling the lower half of each side with this bar in between because I want to make sure in the front it's centered where I want it to be, because there are hooks front and rear on these trucks. I want to be in the middle of that so I can always access them if I ever need to with this bar in place. So I pre-assembled it. It is simply just the really short screw with a washer. You can see right there. And you go here, 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 and here. Allen wrench is supplied, so you don't need to have your own for that. And once I find location, these screws can be loosened up, and this can be stretched out and adjust the location depending on how much forward or backwards or where I want it to be oriented or how long my bed is. This right here is how the clamp is assembled. They come just as a 2-half piece, just like this, with no hardware in them. Take your 45mm long bolt, it goes through that and threads into that. That is what will pinch down and tighten that up. And then you have your 30mm long bolt that goes up through the bottom. They say to use a square spacer, and that's going to attach into the bottom of the bracket on those right there. So that's how you assemble that to attach the bed rail. So right now we have one side just loosely assembled. The way I got it set is these plastic caps have pins that go down through the bed rail to locate them. So there's one right up here on that, so I use this one all the way up against that pin, and it kind of comes out to right there on the H. So that's where it is as my back location. We are using this hole right here in the bottom bracket. This one has another pin right there, or just underneath the bed cap there. So that one is using this bolt hole right here. On the front side, this bracket is up against the locating pin that's on that plastic cap right there as well. So we are using the middle hole right there, and this one on the forward side has a pin right there. So we are actually using the forward hole right there. So everything is just loosely installed till we get everything squared away, and once everything is fully assembled, we'll tighten it all down. So this is a standard bed truck, so 6.5 foot bed. If you're looking for location placement, from the leading edge here to this is 14 inches on both sides. So right here to that, 14 inches. Then from this edge to this edge, I have set to 26.5 inches. So that's some reference marks for you, so you know where to locate it if you want to do the exact same thing that we have right here. The vertical upright installation goes pretty simple. You have these little nut bolts right here on both sides that need to get loosened up. That loosens up the T-bracket, and then once those are loosened up, it falls right in. Once we set the height, we'll tighten them back up and it'll be set for location. So now all these uppers are installed into place. I just have them loosely tightened to make sure everything fits in place. The distance I went with was from this edge to that edge was 6 inches. That should be enough for this crossbar. Gets above the third brake light, but not being too high above the roof line to be in the way. So we're going to install the crossbars and go from there. Crossbars need to have 2 T-nuts put on each side. So the T-nut simply looks just like that. Goes in the slot, comes right down there. And we'll use 2 nuts on each side to tighten it from the bottom. So we'll just put them in the track for now, and then we'll get it up in place and set it down. And this is how it looks with the bars on. Pretty quick and easy to do. And to do it, you got the nuts that go on the bottom side. They supply a 13mm wrench to be able to tighten them up with it, so it's nice and easy. Gaps. So if you measure from this edge to the end here, at the very back rail, is 3.5 inches on both sides. The front rail, since the front of the bed of the truck is actually wider than the back half, that gap is 3 inches across that there. So if you're looking to set up the same dimensions as here, that's how to do it. And if you look across the rails there, we're just at the height of the cab. So by the time we add spacers and blocks or foam that we normally do with paddle boards or canoes, plenty of space above the height of the truck without being too tall to catch a bunch of wind noise and drag. So now we're just going to tighten everything up and put on the extra accessories. Now that everything's tightened down, last thing we got to do is install the end caps. So you don't have that tubing on the end. End caps are right here. Nice little hole drilled through them with a hex end on the bottom. Loophole for hooks, things like that. Washer and nut goes through it. Just like that. It'll come out the other side. Or you've got your acorn nut. You go right on the bottom and everything gets tightened up. So that's the next step. So we've got one cap on so far. One thing you don't want to forget to do is install this plastic seal. So it can be done a couple different ways. So you can see that you can install both caps. Tuck it in one side, then pinch it, tuck it in the other, and do that all the way down. Or you can, while it's one cap is off, you can get it started like that, and then feed it all the way down to the other side. So there's 2 ways you can install that seal. Just got to make sure you do that whichever way works. The idea behind this seal is so this track, when it fills up with water, and if it freezes, this would burst apart. So you want to have that seal on there to make sure rainwater doesn't get trapped in here and cause problems. There we have it, both seals installed all the way down the line. Look nice and neat. So cool thing about these, they are rubber, so they also help keep anything from getting marred up when they're sitting on top of the rack. Next thing to do is we got some screw caps that come with the kit. They look just like this. They simply just press on top of all those screws all the way down. So we're going to cover them all up and we'll be good to go. So this kit does come with extra hardware and accessories, extra T-nuts, different T-nut plates, things like that, and extra hooks So if you want to add them on in different spots along the rack, because there is T-nut slots everywhere. And as you can see on the inside right there, on the inside of that track, there are T-nut slots there on both sides. So if you even wanted to, you could take that bar and flip it to the outside if you wanted stings that were mounted from the outside and access there. But I chose to keep them on the inside because I like bed rack system for this 2024 Chevrolet 2500 HD. So I'm very impressed with this kit. It's very sturdy. I love it being all aluminum, so it's not going to rust out. I think this competes with a lot of the high-end name brand kits that are out there, and being a T-slot system makes it very universal. There's plenty of features everywhere on this to be used anywhere else. So it's a great system. I really enjoyed installing it. It wasn't that bad. A couple hours in the morning is all it took, and it's done and taken care of. So if you like what you see, like the video, comment, tell us what you think, tell us what else you want to hear about, and subscribe. We got a lot of great content coming, a lot of great content already on the channel, so be sure to check it out and have a great adventure.